apologize that we're late. We had a nice big tour of Kiev today, so we walked around. We went a ton of places. We saw the Soviet Computer Museum at the Polytechnic University. What else did we see? Downtown Kiev. We took the trolley car.
Funicular.
What?
We were traveling by funicular to the uphill.
Yeah. So I learned one Ukrainian word that I can pronounce badly, and that is "Дякую." I figure thank you is a good one to know. So thank you guys very much for having us. This is my first time in Ukraine. I was really excited. I think this is as far east of Europe as I've been, so it was really fun to hang out today, and I appreciate getting the chance to present to you. Before I start, how many of you have seen the internet today? And the Adobe news specifically today?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I built this presentation before all that hit. So we can talk about, so those of you who didn't see it, this will all be great. Those of you who did see it, we can definitely talk about that at the end, and you can ask some questions about what went on today, and I'll help clarify that definitely, because it's a big, exciting time. So Max 2011, we kind of introduced a lot of the stuff that is going to happen in 2012, and I've been involved in Max for about 5 years now, and this I think is the biggest Max of all time, really for the entire Adobe community. So whether you're a Flash developer, whether you're a designer, whether you're an HTML developer, the world has changed so quickly that Max was a kind of our big party to show what we think of the future and how Adobe developers are going to fit in that. And there are kind of three major themes that we wanted to talk about at Max and that we really focused on at Max. The first one was embracing the next generation of creative content. So with all of the devices and tablets and smartphones, people are kind of figuring out new ways to create content, building content on the go. And since Adobe is a very creative company and designers are our bread and butter, this is really critical for us to make sure that we're meeting the designers' needs and kind of making sure that designers and developers can continue to work together. The other big one is HTML5. Hopefully this is not a bad word for Flash developers. HTML5 is something that is here to stay. And I think that Flash developers, because of all the experience you guys have creating rich content, you have a chance to be very big players here in the HTML5 space. So we want to become part of that HTML5 ecosystem and bring a lot of what we have known from the Flash world into that HTML5 world, and then also help make HTML5 developers successful and make Flash developers who are doing HTML5 and JavaScript content successful as well. The last one is my favorite one, of course, and the biggie is continue to innovate and push boundaries with the Flash platform. And there are a couple of very cool things that are going to happen with this that I can't talk specifically about today, but you'll see the news of that over the next few months, because we think that Flash is still incredibly relevant. And especially for things like games, videos, and applications, Flash is the best way to do that. And so we're going to put a lot of momentum and energy and resources into making sure that Flash rocks on those platforms and rocks for those things. So one of the big announcements that we made, this is what took up the entire day one keynote at Max, was the Adobe Creative Cloud. And this encompasses a whole bunch of different things, but it's applicable for everyone. So it's not just a designer thing, it's kind of an everyone thing. And there are three different pillars for what this is going to be. I'm sorry I keep going back and forth, that's kind of annoying, I realize. Creative services, so providing designers and developers a place to host and store and share content. Creative applications, this is all the things that we build, and then creative continuity. So those are the three kind of main areas of the Creative Cloud, and we'll drill into those real quick. The creative services side is basically things that we can provide people on the web or designers that are going to make their lives a little bit easier. So it's including access to fonts, because we acquired Typekit, which is a big type foundry, so you can use a bunch of licensed fonts on your website. So it includes Business Catalyst, as well as digital publishing. So a lot of services that designers are going to want to use to create content or kind of make their content a little bit better and take it to the next level. We also want to let you store your assets in the cloud with automatic synchronization across all of your devices. So we're going to give you 20 gigabytes of storage that you can push to the cloud, and that 20 gigabytes of storage will let you work on different devices and with different computers, all synchronizing even within the tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, Dreamweaver, and everything else. So kind of a centralized place to store your information, store some of your demo assets or design or development assets, and then it'll have access to those from wherever you are. The other big piece of this is the creative applications. And so the Creative Cloud is going to be a subscription model, right? So you'll pay basically every month for all the things that are encompassing in Creative Cloud. And one of the things that we mentioned at Max but wasn't entirely clear is the creative applications part of the Creative Cloud is everything that we make currently that's in Master Collection. So Photoshop, Illustrator, Fireworks, Flash Professional, Edge. So as soon as you subscribe to the Creative Cloud on that monthly basis, you get all the services, all the things that are in Master Collection right now, as well as a bunch of new tools that we're developing that are really focused on touch. So creating content on devices like tablets especially. The last piece is this idea of the creative community. We feel like Adobe designers and Adobe developers have a lot of good stuff that they've been able to build, and we want to make sure that they feel comfortable and have a place to share some of that so that they can use it for inspiration or collaboration. So we're going to have a public-facing website that's going to be kind of the main part of the Creative Cloud where you can share some of that content, share some of your projects, and then a lot of social interaction so that you can comment and work with other designers and developers to kind of build something that's a little bit cohesive. So I want to do a quick demo of the Creative Cloud in action. So there's the main parts of the Creative Cloud that I'm going to show are the touch tooling section, or the touch tooling applications. So one of the first things that you can do when you want to leverage the Creative Cloud is install the Creative Cloud desktop client. And if any of you have used Dropbox, it'll be very familiar. It's just this little Creative Cloud icon down here where you're going to have a bunch of your projects that you can store there. We have a little notification bar up there that will let you kind of customize how and when you want to synchronize things. And then you can leverage that with a bunch of the new touch tools. So as I mentioned, this is a Sony tablet device, so it's running Android Honeycomb. And let me make sure that there we go. That back. Oh. And these are all the Adobe apps. Drag this. So I'm going to start with one called Adobe Collage to kind of show off the workflow. The idea behind...
quick question. So at this moment you are showing the screen of your device, you picking it with webcam?
Yeah, it's just webcam. So it's my device here, but showing webcam. Yeah.
So it's in real time.
Yeah, all real time. Exactly. Yeah. So the idea behind a lot of these touch applications is not to replace Photoshop or Illustrator or some of the things that are really professional focused on the desktop. It's for smaller things, inspiration, little snippets, so that when you're on the bus or the subway, you can jot things down and automatically have that be a part of your existing workflow. And these are kind of design focused, but there are some developer things here as well, so we'll talk about those. But this is kind of a good example of how the workflow generally works. This application is really targeted at doing some simple kind of collaging or whiteboarding almost. So I can come over here and add some pictures. And I can either choose from the gallery on the device, or I can choose from Google or Flickr. Sorry, it's kind of ugly, isn't it? I can choose from some of the social networks that are out there, or I can click on the Creative Cloud and pull in some things that are right in my cloud that I've either uploaded from Photoshop or I've added as part of my general Creative Cloud work. So I'm going to select those, a bunch of pictures of my daughter that may or may not show up. And then push the Add button. And it's going to download those files down here where my back is. And it's going to add those to my collage here. So now I have access to these here. I can kind of pinch to resize them, pinch zoom, add some text here, right there. So double tap to edit the text and say, my kiddo. I've also got some basic drawing tools here, so I can come over here and select the size, do some drawing here. We'll give her a little mustache and a beard. Is that an American joke? I don't know if that's. I don't know if you guys deface your posters like we do in America. I can also do some basic things, set the background color, and as I do that, it'll update automatically. Go ahead and set kind of a texture background there. So something that would be kind of fun, informal to work on, maybe an inspiration piece, maybe you want to pull in some search text from Flickr and create something that you could eventually upload to Photoshop and then do a little bit more with. So kind of these touch tooling apps are meant to get you 25% of the way there and then go into the main tools to actually do your final development or your final design on them. Oops. The other one I want to show you is an app called Adobe Proto. So this is a prototyping tool meant for web stuff, so HTML, JavaScript. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project here. So let's do new project. Oops. And it's all gesture-based. So I'm going to create a new web layout. And you can see it's going to give me some help tooltips down here, and you can't see that because I'm kind of in the way. But the idea is that you want to draw on the screen kind of some of the elements that you want to have as part of a web prototype. So for instance, at the top of my page, I probably want a header. So I'll do a little squiggly up here for the header. It'll automatically give me some big text. Maybe we'll do a rectangle right below that. So we'll do a box, automatically give me a rectangle there. Let's say that I want to put a video over on the right-hand corner. Maybe it's going to be an ad. So I'll do, oops, nope. There we go. So do kind of. If I can draw a triangle. There we go, so now I've got the video there. Some of the other ones you can do, if I want to do, scroll down a little bit, come back to my drawing. We'll do a nav bar right here below my div tag, so just do a bunch of lines there. It'll automatically build the navigation for me. Just do a bunch of block of text right here. Oops. Give me my lorem ipsum text, you can kind of see that. And then I can also do drag things from here. So if I want to just come over here and select an element like an accordion, tap there, I can drag this with 2 fingers to make it a little bit bigger. So increase the size, start to move it around, position it. So you can actually, with gestures, build kind of a pretty decent prototype. Now if I come over here and I want to save this, so it's saved. Click on the Creative Cloud button up here, and I'm going to upload this to Creative Cloud. So we'll select that second project and upload it. So now it's going to send that comp that I just built in Proto up to the Creative Cloud, so it's available on all the other devices that I have the Creative Cloud on. And if we come over here to my Finder, we should see something soon. What is that over there, by the way? A gym? Oh, nice. Boy. Oh, upload. There we go. So it's gonna, you can kind of see it down. I feel so bad I'm not working out now. Wow. Yeah. Come on, synchronize.
Can I ask one question while it's synchronizing?
Yeah.
These touch apps, are they written using Air or no?
They are written using Air. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes. So they're using Air and native extensions pretty heavily, but it's all Air on these. Yeah.
Ryan, let me stress it in Russian.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Все приложения, которые сейчас показывает Ryan, сделаны в Adobe Air.
Приложение на таблете.
На табле, конечно, не на Macintosh. Native extension, которые помогают получать доступ к функциям, которые иногда в Air нужны, но, допустим, сейчас...
Почему на флешете, расположение иконок, как на Маке? Это же вроде Sony сказали. На третьем.
Я скажу, Native Extensions это...
Кнопочки закидывались.
Можете думать о них как о плагинах, написанных на родных языках для какого-либо устройства. они подключаются к вашему приложению как SVIC файлы, SVC, и вы можете работать с ними как с библиотеками, используя функции, нужные вам в приложении.
So this isn't, for some reason it's not updating my, it's not sending.
There is firewall.
I don't think that should be an issue. But we'll fake it anyway. So I've got this project here that already exists, project 1. So we're going to take a look at project 1. So I've got this zip file here, which is basically just one of the other demo projects, same exact thing.
Да.
So when I go ahead and open this up in Creative Cloud, it's going to have a zip file.
Это ведро.
And instead of just a graphic of what I created when I was doing all those gestures, it's going to give me the actual HTML and CSS for that project. So you see here all the menus have hover. I've even got a sample video that plays to take that shows that video placeholder. I've got some other elements here, a checkbox, that accordion that I created. All these are now actually HTML elements that someone can go in and skin, and it's using jQuery to make some of those interactive pieces. So it's something that a designer can come in and start using, or a developer can start using right away. And that's kind of the key with these touch tools, like I said, to get you part of the way there, but to finish that off in one of the actual professional tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, or Dreamweaver in this case. Now, one of the other things that we have tried to spend a lot of time on is the HTML5 world. We know that for every developer, it's critical that HTML5 is something that you guys can leverage. How many Flash developers here have done stuff with HTML5 at all? A few of you. The rest of you should start doing something. Unless you're building games, you should start looking at HTML5. Partly because HTML5 is so far behind what Flash can do. So like I said, you guys can come in very quickly and take all the stuff that you know from Flash and start doing very creative things that are going to get the attention of a lot of people. And we think that's an area where Adobe can kind of can be successful. There are two areas to our HTML5 strategy. One is collaborate and drive innovation with the browser vendors themselves. So take some of the things that we've done in Flash and make those part of HTML5 through the standards process as well as at the browser level itself, so that you have some of the same functionality native to the browser that you have in Flash. The other one is to sort of build world-class tooling for HTML5. That's kind of what we do as a lot of tools. So we want to make sure that those tools are going to be applicable to people targeting HTML5, but also kind of make sense for Flash developers. One of the biggest examples of those is, I'll start with world-class tooling. One of the biggest examples of those is Adobe Edge, an animation tool that's specifically for HTML5. When Flash CS6 releases, it should have support for just exporting some Flash animations out into HTML5 and SVG and JavaScript. So if you know Flash Professional, which I'm assuming nearly all of you do, you'll be able to take some of that functionality and convert it to HTML5. But Edge is a tool that was kind of built from the ground up with HTML5 and JavaScript in mind. We've also taken a kind of different approach with how we build Edge, and I think that one of the reasons that Edge is interesting even for people who aren't doing HTML is that we built this tool from scratch and we've been doing kind of very incremental releases of it to the public. And once we roll out the subscription model for the Creative Cloud, a lot of our tools are going to have this kind of very iterative development model where we release something, get feedback, release it again, get feedback, release it again, get feedback. So it's kind of a new way for us to build tools. And we think that it lets you guys get a lot more input into the products themselves and lets us be a little more nimble in how things are going. I'm going to show you Edge. Have you guys seen Edge at all? Who's seen Edge in action? Okay, I'll show those of you that haven't seen it. We'll show you real quick. And those of you who are Flash developers will find this to be probably very familiar, which is a good thing. We really do want to make sure that the transition from Flash to HTML is something that you guys can make easily if you have to. So you'll notice a timeline down here. I've got the elements panel. So Edge can handle a lot of the assets that you might want to manage as part of an HTML project. I can come over here and do some basic shapes. All right. And then I can insert a keyframe, add some code. I can insert keyframe. Oh, there we go. then change some of the properties, like let's do rotation here. Add that keyframe. So it'll automatically build the transition, and then I can use, when I go to run it, preview in the browser, I use the exact same OpenApple enter that we use in Flash, and it'll open that up and do that rotation in the browser. So it allows you to do some, and you can see you can transform things around the x-axis, you can do some 3D transforms. This will pale in comparison to what Flash can do, but for HTML it takes advantage of all the new things in HTML5 so that you can build animations that kind of look HTML5-ish within the context or within the animations that kind of look Flash-ish within the context of HTML5. One of the other big ones that we have sort of talked about or done a lot with is phone gap. So I want to show a quick example of one of the things that we've done around shaders for that. So for those that, anybody played with Pixel Bender before? It's our shader language. Yeah, so you can do some kind of custom pixel shader effects in Flash Player. We thought that would be a very helpful thing for HTML developers to have. And so, so this is a special build of Google Chrome. And this is all just HTML, so you can go view the source on these. But you will see something that looks sort of very familiar for Flash developers. We'll start with this curtain shader. So as I, there we go, push this, click the curtain. Nice little basic shader effect, all HTML and JavaScript. This one's kind of cool. This is sort of every Flash developer has done their sort of page flip effect. So click it, arrow key. These are all being generated kind of on the fly with the shader language, so you can see the transitions a little bit as we go up. And I can also play video here, and as I play HTML5 video, and as I play the video, the shader will be applied to the video as well. So you see the video as it's playing will have that exact same effect as the images do. So it's all live and kind of interactable on the website.
So generally you apply this used in CSS code?
Yes, yeah. We'll look at the code in a second, but yeah. The same thing here. This is just a regular like list or iframe here that I can scroll and is live. So shaking the shader language and just sort of transitioning it a little bit or morphing it a little bit.
Could you please to show this example on mobile device?
I can't because I don't have a mobile device with this version of the browser on it. So this is a special version of Chrome that we have because it's not in the main line yet. And so it's not supported on devices yet, and I can't put a special browser on the mobile device.
And what special in it? CSS support or what?
It's because basically what we're doing is we're building this into the browser itself. So let's go. In fact, I'll show you this example real quick. It's a Google map, like Harry Potter, kind of the Marauders map effect. So click on that. Nice little shade. And it's all live content here. Click it back. Mischief managed in English. And it'll go back. So if we go look at the code for this, view developer source. All that we're doing is we've got this WebKit filter tag in CSS that's then taking a URL, in this case vertex shader, and I'll and this is the shader language for that map in effect, so pretty basic shader language. But all of this is a CSS property, but the thing is we have to build this functionality into the browser itself. So it's not something that just comes with CSS for free. We're actually working with Google and Apple and the WebKit team to make sure that all the WebKit browsers can use this CSS property. So it's not something that you can just do with CSS right now. It has to be built into a special version of the browser.